Blob. Much like the infinite nature of space can baffle and disturb the human mind, so too can the vastness of our oceans. In 2019, in the deep, dark waters of a fjord in Norway, research diver Ronald Raasch, working with Nils Baadnes, captain of the vessel REV Ocean, discovered a large, translucent ball of mysterious origin. They were visiting a World War II shipwreck and swimming at a depth of 55 feet when they first encountered the object. As large as a human, the blob had a gelatinous form, contained within a membrane, and at its center, a swirling pattern. Holding his flashlight up to it, Raasch illuminated what appeared to be hundreds of thousands of tiny, dark-colored spheres. This was not the first sighting of one of these alien objects. Other examples had been spotted by divers over the course of 30 years, but they were only recently identified in 2017, when scientists determined the objects to be egg masses. It remains a mystery to researchers exactly how squids produce such large egg masses, but they are known to consist primarily of mucus, inside of which wait many thousands of eggs. It is believed that female squid may lay the egg mass, which then somehow expands upon contact with the water. Interestingly, different squid lay different sizes and shapes of egg masses. Some feature coiled and spring-like shapes, whereas others can be meters in diameter. The particular egg mass discovered by Raasch contained hundreds of thousands of 10-armed squid, a particularly elusive species of the deep, and the dark swirls that his footage shows within the mass were likely traces of the squid's ink. The blob drifted past the divers, out into the endless darkness of the ocean. Point Nemo. The seemingly endless void of the ocean, in places, can rival space in terms of inhospitality and isolation. The most remote location on planet Earth is known as Point Nemo, and it lies at the farthest flung reaches of the Pacific Ocean. Named for the Captain Nemo character in Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Point Nemo is the single location on the planet furthest removed from human life, bordered by more than 1,000 miles of ocean in every direction. In fact, it is geographically so distant from humanity that the closest humans to Point Nemo are generally the astronauts aboard the International Space Station as it passes overhead. Even beneath the surface of the sea, Point Nemo is barren, as the nutrient-sparse waters offer little sustenance for marine life. It is for these reasons that NASA and similar space agencies have nominated Point Nemo as their designated underwater space graveyard, a place furthest from humans where machinery which is too large to burn up on re-entry to our atmosphere can fall safely back to Earth. When in 2031, the International Space Station is retired and comes crashing down to Earth, it will do so at Point Nemo. Used as a target for space junk since the early 1970s, the location earned the nickname Spacecraft Cemetery. With Point Nemo being one of the least biologically active locations in the ocean, scientists were baffled when, in 1997, they discovered one of the loudest underwater sounds ever recorded, captured by microphones more than 3,000 miles apart. This bloop sound, combined with the fact that the location of Point Nemo is extremely close to the coordinates given by H.P. Lovecraft in his description of Cthulhu's lair, written long before Point Nemo was identified, led to speculations amongst monster hunters. While the mysterious bloop was eventually found to be the distorted sound of ice breaking off Antarctica, rather than Cthulhu's call, Point Nemo remains a mysterious place, and is home to almost 300 known pieces of space junk, including the Russian Mir space station. The specific coordinates are known, but owing to the location's remoteness, it's quite possible that humans will never fully explore the area in person. Orang Medan. In May 1947, ships detected a mysterious distress call coming from an unknown vessel in the Strait of Malacca near Indonesia. Those who heard the strange signal reported a desperate voice, intermittently cut out by crackles and pops of interference. The plea for help came in Morse code and translated to, quote, "SOS from Orang Medan. We float. All officers, including the captain, dead in chart room and on the bridge. Probably whole of crew dead." This message was followed by a few nonsensical dots and dashes, and then, very finally, "I die." Reports by various publications throughout the 1940s and 50s, which gave inconsistent details, but occasionally featured haunting photographs, told the tale of the SS Orang Medan and the sinister fate of its crew. Some sources claimed that the American crew of the Silver Star located and boarded the undamaged Orang Medan after hearing its haunting distress call to find the corpses of every crew member, as well as that of a dog, strewn across the decks. The bodies were reportedly sprawled on their backs, with expressions of utter fear frozen on their faces, eyes open, staring dead ahead. There were no signs of what had caused this incident, no physical injuries on the bodies, and no survivors. One photograph even appears to depict one of these frozen crew members, eyes open, arms outstretched. According to these same sources, a spontaneous fire forced the living to abandon the ship hastily, and the Orang Medan was last seen exploding and sinking. Some others report that, when help arrived, there was found a sole survivor on the ship. According to these sources, the wreck was discovered by an Italian missionary, and the last survivor, before he himself perished, told his rescuers that the ship had been transporting badly stowed oil of vitriol, now known more commonly as sulfuric acid, and that poisonous fumes had killed everyone else on board. While official records show no history of a ship named the Orang Medan, the prominence and persistence of the reports of this ghost ship have given credence to the story and disturbed historians for generations. Korean ghost ships. Most of us are aware of the adverse effects of overfishing on particular areas of the sea, but for many North Korean fishermen, this danger poses a truly direct threat. Every winter, for many years, there have been reports of boats washing up on Japanese shores, often containing the remains of their crew. This phenomenon happens annually and reliably. The bodies of those who wash up appear to have succumbed to starvation, dehydration, or exposure, and the boats tend to arrive off Japanese shores, carried by seasonal winds. Long a mystery, evidence in recent years points to a sinister, oppressive, and illegal fishing practice. China's approach to fishing is an industrial one, and it often involves sending hundreds of vessels into North Korean waters every year. With expansive nets that churn the ocean bottom and trap anything in their way, these boats exhaust the supply of fish, which in turn forces the local Korean fishermen further out into the ocean to find a catch. The smaller and more ill-prepared North Korean vessels and their crews find themselves sailing further and further from land each season, meeting rough seas and occasionally becoming lost in the vastness of the unknowable and unpredictable ocean. It is here that these fishermen perish, only to be washed up on the shores of Japan later in the year. This occurrence appears to be increasing, as the sea's stocks of fish are depleted more and more by illegal overfishing. In 2019, record levels of at least 156 boats were reported, washing up in Japanese waters. In this same year, one particular ship was found, which contained 5 human bodies, plus 2 additional human heads. The Japanese procedure for disposing of the unclaimed bodies involves cremating them, sorting their ashes in a Buddhist compound, and destroying the boats themselves. With North Korea heavily reliant on the fresh fish trade, and with China refusing to acknowledge any wrongdoing, this dark phenomenon appears doomed to continue. Rogue waves. On New Year's Day, 1995, the Norwegian Dropner oil platform was forced to cease operations as the sea around it swelled, and the winds picked up. It was deemed no longer safe to work outside. The structure, however, was built to withstand rough seas, so those aboard were unconcerned. That is, until a monstrous sight appeared on the horizon. This wave measured 84 feet tall, more than double the height of any other, and it plowed relentlessly across the ocean's surface toward the Dropner platform. While the platform and its crew survived what became known as the Dropner wave, it horrified many because of its unpredictability, freak nature, and sheer size. This wave, which dwarfed all else around it, was the first scientifically recorded rogue wave. The sea is subject to tidal patterns, which renders it relatively predictable in some ways. However, rogue waves, also known as abnormal wakes, monster waves, and killer waves, are a terrifying exception to this. The Dropner wave was one of the first solid pieces of evidence for rogue waves, a theory that is thought to explain many suspicious sinkings of ships all around the world. History is rich with reports of rogue waves, which were treated with skepticism by experts, who could not fathom such a random yet gigantic destructive force until the observation of the Dropner wave. For instance, in 1861, the Eagle Island lighthouse's glass windows were broken, and the structure flooded, up to an incredible height, which implied that the damage was done by a wave of more than 216 feet in height. The reported waves appear to occur regardless of weather conditions, anywhere in the ocean, and despite currents, adding further to their enigmatic legacy. Some rare photographs reveal what one eyewitness described as a wall of water. There's still a great deal of mystery that surrounds these waves, and their unfathomable scale and unpredictable nature are the stuff of nightmares for fishermen and marine workers all around the globe. Thank you for watching Dark 5. Don't forget to like and subscribe to continue exploring the greatest mysteries of this world and beyond. Your support and engagement help my videos get seen by even more people. And let me know in the comments if you know other creepy things to fear in the ocean.